Diana Taurasi, who won 3 WNBA championships, 3 NCAA titles, 6 Olympic gold medals, announced her retirement after 20 years with the Mercury. She told Time magazine that, quote, she mentally and physically, I'm just full. I'm full and I'm happy. Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo joins us now. So, Rebecca, how do you put Diana's career and her legacy into perspective?
Diana's the greatest women's basketball player of the modern era. And when I say modern, I mean the last 40 years. What she has done is incomparable, especially when you look at the sum total of everything. Winning 3 national championships in college makes her one of the, if not the greatest college player of all time. 3 WNBA championships, the longevity of her WNBA career in terms of all the points that she scored, her 6 Olympic gold medals. When you combine everything that she did, without question, she's the greatest women's player we've seen in terms of the WNBA era. And it's pretty remarkable. I don't think anyone who knows Diana even a little bit is surprised with the way that she retired on a quiet Tuesday in February with an interview with a magazine. Like, it's always been about winning. It's always been about the game of basketball. She's barely on social media. It was never about self-promotion. Diana Taurasi has always just been about winning.
Can you give us a little more insight into her personality? Because you mentioned all those titles, all those championships, and she's the common denominator. What made her a winner literally at every level?
She's a rip your heart out kind of competitor, while at the same time being an incredible teammate. And one of the quotes in that Time magazine piece was from Sue Bird, and said, Diana just had this incredible ability to make all of her teammates better, make them all believe they could do more. And even this past All-Star game, when the All-Stars were playing against the Olympic team, we were at practice for the Olympic team, and Diana Taurasi was giving more 5s to teammates than anyone else. She was communicating more than anyone else. This was her 6th go-round. She was a veteran. She was out there just showing incredible leadership, and anyone who's ever played for her has loved playing with her. Anyone who has ever played against her has pretty much hated it because she's out there to win. She's gonna talk trash. She loves to compete, and that's what it's always been about for Diana Taurasi. It's one of the things that makes her so fun to watch. And Hannah, she's kind of like the women's basketball Charles Barkley. She says things that are always funny, and that she can get away with. Just a great personality to be around. And it's certainly, we're going to miss watching her play and covering her games. That's for sure.
I've been on the receiving end of some of her jokes on SportsCenter. And you're right, the personality in full force. Who knows what her next step will be, but so many people agree with you. Voted the greatest of all time by WNBA fans, announcing her retirement today. Rebecca, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Diana Taurasi, one of the most decorated basketball players ever. There is no arguing these stats. A 3-time national champion at the college level, a 3-time WNBA champion, a 6-time Olympic gold medalist, and Mike and Tony are back with more in our PTI bonus topic.
Okay, Wilbon, where do you rank Diana Taurasi among the all-time greats in women's basketball?
Very high. It's safe to say that, right? Tony, if I tried to do 5, and I just sat here and tried to do that, 4 seem fairly automatic to me. And Cheryl Miller's always been my GOAT, and Diana's in the discussion. So it's Cheryl Miller, Cheryl Swoops, Diana Taurasi, and Cynthia Cooper. Those 4 to me are in stone. And then the 5th comes from a group I can't decide. I'm partial to Candace Parker, Chicago's own. But in that group are Tamika Catchings, Nancy Lieberman, Lisa Leslie, Maya Moore. I can make the argument for any one of those women to be in that top 5, but Taurasi. I mean, she has to be in the discussion at the very least, right?
Well, she's not in the discussion for me. She's the GOAT for me, as I've sat here on this show for years and said I think she's the greatest who ever played.
Argument against.
Let's look at what she's accomplished. She had 3 national championships in college at Connecticut. She had 3 WNBA championships. She had 6 EuroLeague championships and a whole bunch of other things outside this country, championship after championship. She has 6, let's count them, 6 Olympic gold medals in basketball. So if you put your stuff on a mantle, she needs more mantles. She's got everything there is. Now, Caitlin Clark did something for college basketball that had never been done before. She exposed it to millions of people who had not watched it before.
That's the Christian Laettner dream team position.
That's
at this point.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying she's a GOAT.
We'll get to it.
I'm saying that many more people saw her and see the WNBA as a result than saw it before. But I think Diana Taurasi's record is such that I think she's the greatest of all time.
Again,
that's what I think.
You can't have her not in the top 5. Yeah. All time, and however high you go, you can justify it because of all those.
And now she's going to take out a 7-iron, right, and hit it about 175
golf
yards.
Courses near you, probably, you'll be asking for strokes on the first tee.
Well, because she's better than I am, and I'm 100 years old.
Her head coach from her time at UConn, Gino Auriemma, released a statement just minutes ago, which read in part, "In my opinion, what the greats have in common is they transcend the sport and become synonymous with the sport. For as long as people talk about college basketball, WNBA basketball, and Olympic basketball, Diana is the greatest winner in that history of basketball, period. I've had the pleasure of being around her for a lot of those moments, and she's the greatest teammate I've ever coached. I'm happy for her and her family. At the same time, I'm sad that I'll never get to see her play again, but I saw more than most."
Who covered Taurasi at the Olympics in Paris. There was even some sentiment leading up to it that she should cede her spot on the Olympic team to a younger player. But we all saw how that played out with another gold medal. What can you offer in terms of her legacy in that regard?
Hannah, Athens, Beijing, London, Rio, Tokyo, Paris. We're talking about someone who's established the heart and soul of the women's team for USA Basketball. She also won, I know we're listing all of her career achievements, she also won 3 World Cups for playing for Team USA. That makes her the most decorated basketball player in the history of the sport. And one of the things when you watch Team USA play, they are one of the most enjoyable teams I've ever seen. Being around them in Tokyo and in Paris was one of the highlights of my career. And she made it that way. Her and Sue Bird were the heart and soul of that team for 20 years. And, she was so, important in their style of play, which was to share the ball, to really play, team first, to be selfless. And as you know, Hannah, the Olympics happen during the middle of the WNBA season. They don't have a ramp-up period like the men do. They have to stop playing their style, go to play Team USA basketball, where if they even have a close game, much less a loss, they're questioned, and they always play at the highest level because Diana set that bar. And so being able to be a part in seeing her receive the last 2 gold medals, the finishing moment really of her career, which was in Paris, getting that gold, was, truly an honor to be even a part of that.
Yeah, and you talk about her and the younger players. So many of them were inspired by her. And I just want to say, we've said, is she among the greatest players of all time? I just heard from Nancy Lieberman, one of the great pioneers in the game, and she said in her mind, Diana Taurasi is the GOAT.